nobody has taken back the slanderous and libelous things they said about Alex Pretti, including Vice President JD Vance, who immediately after Pretti's execution, our vice president reposted on social media statements by the odious Stephen Miller, statements that called Alex Pretti, quote, an assassin with ill intent who tried to murder federal agents. Newsweek now reporting that Vice President JD Vance gave an interview to the Daily Mail where Vance was asked if he'd like to apologize to Alex Pretti's family, or at least take back his support for Stephen Miller's characterization of Alex Pretti. JD Vance said, apologize for what? Vance then repeated what he said right after the shooting, that Pretti was a guy who showed up with ill intent to an ICE protest, unquote. Actually, it was Border Patrol officers who executed Alex Pretti, not ICE agents. Vance said those agents who killed Pretti enjoy the presumption of innocence until they are found guilty in a court of law. He said that's the way we do it here in the United States. Wow. JD Vance, he went to Yale Law School. He's so smart. The presumption of innocence. And what about Alex Pretti? Does he too enjoy the presumption of innocence? Or is the vice president free to taint future jury pools who could conceivably rule on whether or not these border agents murdered Pretti? Is that what JD Vance is attempting to do? Taint jury pools by holding fast and still accusing Alex Pretti of being an assassin despite all evidence to the contrary? Yale Law School graduate, aren't you glad the Supreme Court got rid of affirmative action so racist redneck hillbillies like JD Vance wouldn't lose their richly deserved spot inside America's elite universities? Because it would be a tragedy if a great legal mind like JD Vance were deprived a Yale Law School education in order to make room for a far less deserving person of color, because JD Vance is so smart. Actually, sarcasm and contempt for JD Vance aside, he should be disbarred, and Yale Law School should take back the diploma. Government officials, especially inside the executive branch, have to be very careful what they say about cases before the courts. Countless times in the past year, Kristi Noem has been admonished by judges to stop describing immigrants who have just been arrested as, quote, domestic terrorists because it weakens the government's case. It makes it easier for the defendant, like Abrego Garcia, to claim they can't get a fair trial. Now, Kristi Noem is a moron. So is JD Vance, but he wears his Yale Law School diploma on his sleeve. He's supposed to know better. Trump's original travel ban, for example, was back in 2017. This is why JD Vance is so stupid. So Trump's original travel ban, the Muslim ban, was issued by an executive order back in 2017. It was one of the first things he did. And it was overturned specifically because of what Trump said in the lead up to signing his executive order banning Muslim immigrants from entering our country. The courts ruled back in 2017 that Trump's executive order to ban Muslims from entering the country was based on, quote, religious animus, hatred for Muslims, unquote. And the courts based their conclusion on what? On the things Trump said about Islam while he was both a candidate for president and then a president. If you are the vice president of the United States and you have a degree from Yale Law School, JD Vance, you should know to keep your stupid hillbilly mouth shut. On Monday, for example, U.S. District Judge Anna C. Reyes of the District of Columbia issued an 83-page ruling blocking Trump's decision to revoke temporary protected status for 350,000 Haitian immigrants. These are 350,000 Haitian immigrants fleeing poverty, cholera, earthquakes, and political upheaval. They were first given temporary protected status by Obama Obama after the 2010 earthquake, and then it's been renewed, but it's temporary. Trump tried to revoke their temporary protected status during his first term. The courts blocked it, and he's trying to do it again. So the judge this week blocked his executive order. She blocked it on Monday. So he wrote an executive order lifting temporary protective status for Haitian immigrants, which meant it would be open season on Haitians here in America, especially in Springfield, Ohio. I'll get to that in a second. Once he lifts the protected status, ICE agents would be rounding up Haitians or just people who look or sound Haitian. But Judge Reyes on Monday blocked the order by Trump, citing racial animus. This is the same thing that happened with his Muslim ban. Judge Reyes blocked Trump's order to begin deporting Haitians. She said it was motivated by hostility to non-white immigrants. She then provided a list of statements made by Donald Trump about Haitians, as well as statements made by our vice president about Haitians to prove that lifting temporary protected status for Haitians is rooted in racial animus, or to put it more succinctly, racism, hatred for non-whites. She mentioned Donald Trump calling Haiti an S-hole. I'm not going to use the word. He called it an S-hole country during a 2018 Oval Office meeting. He told donors, why can't we get immigrants from nice countries? Why do we have to get immigrants from Haiti? Why can't we get them from nice countries like Denmark and Finland, white people? She mentioned that he said Haitians all have AIDS and letting them in is, quote, like a death wish for our country. And then she mentioned a lie, first amplified, she said, by Vice President JD Vance, and then picked up on by Donald Trump during the 2024 presidential election, where both men claimed Haitian immigrants living in Springfield, Ohio, were eating their neighbors' pets. Remember that? JD Vance was cited in the ruling. Now think about this. He has a degree from Yale Law School, and he should have known about why the Muslim ban was overturned, right? So JD Vance was cited in this ruling. His lies, according to the judge, proved that Trump's decision to lift temporary protected status for Haitians was motivated by both Trump's and JD Vance's, quote, capricious and arbitrary bias against people of color, unquote. Racism. They're racists. Now, in our courts, what you say in the lead up to a crime or in the lead up to signing an executive order can be used against you in order to reveal your intent. JD Vance should have known that. He went to Yale Law School. He knew that Trump tried to revoke temporary protective status for Haitians during the first term, and that got rejected. JD Vance knew in 2024 Trump was going to try to do it again, and he knew Trump's Muslim ban was overturned because of what Trump said about Islam. So if you're planning to revoke temporary protective status for Haitians, JD, you don't spend the last 60 days of a presidential campaign spreading lies about Haitians eating people's pets. It undercuts your own case for deporting Haitians. Now, you might remember he wouldn't stop spreading lies that Haitians here with temporary protected status, especially the ones in Springfield, Ohio, he wouldn't stop. And then death threats started pouring in to Haitians living in Springfield. Death threats to the Republican business owners who were hiring these Haitians to work for them became so intense, Springfield had to bring in Haitian state troopers to protect their schools and municipal buildings from Trump supporters threatening to kill the Haitian students in the schools and just to kill anybody who works for Springfield, Ohio's government because they're welcoming Haitian immigrants. And it got so bad, the governor, DeWine of Ohio, Republican, asked JD Vance to stop spreading these lies. He wouldn't do it. It got so bad. Finally, he caved. And he admitted he was lying about the Haitians. He said, yes, Haitians are not eating pets. He went on Dana Bash's State of the Union, CNN, and was asked, would you like to apologize? The same way he was asked yesterday by the Daily Mail, would you like to apologize for what you said about Alex Pretti? Never apologize. Never apologize. This is what JD Vance told CNN's Dana Bash in the lead up to the 2024 election. I think it was in the middle of September of 2024. He said, I'm not apologizing for telling lies about Haitian immigrants eating pets. I'm not apologizing for the death threats that came their way because of my lies. He said, quote, if I have to create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do. Breathtaking.